Hi everyone, this is my pool plan video in DFFOO global version of the game, and for this video I'll be covering early July 2021, and specifically it'll be covering the banners and events where Eald'narche will be featured as a synergy character. And the infographic on the left hand side, which is derived from Jakematt's global forecast, covers which events these are. So these will be Act 3 Chapter 3.1, Struggles Lost Chapters, and finally Act 3 Chapter 3.2. As always, quick disclaimers before going into the pool video. This is really my own personalized pool plan, fitting my own playstyle and preference. It may or may not be the right pool plan for you, and I always strongly recommend to do research on what these characters bring so that you can make an informed decision on whether or not to pull for these characters. Whether or not to pull always depends on multiple factors, including your playstyle, your current resources in gems and tickets, who you currently have built up in your roster, what content you need to clear, and of course who your favorite characters are. And all of this can really differ from one player to the next. So coming to the first event, we have Act 3 Chapter 3.1, and there'll be two banners here. The first banner featuring Eald'narche, Sid, and Irvine, and the second banner featuring Noel, Kate Sif, and Liz. And for me, I actually plan to skip both these banners. I already have Eald'narche's LD. His LD is actually not new, and although his burst weapon is new, I feel comfortable having Eald'narche at 3-3 with just his LD. At this point I have other characters with burst weapons, and since you can only use one burst mode per fight, I'm very comfortable having another character fulfilling the burst mode if I want to use burst in the first place. For Noel though, his LD weapon is new in global, and he's actually quite a decent character, but I plan to skip him. The main reason is we already have Tifa released in the global version of the game, and for me at least Tifa fulfills all my DPS needs, and I really don't feel the strong need for another DPS character so soon. I also have Terra and Yang fully built up as well, so at this point of the game, really I don't, even if I pull for Noel outside of synergy, I don't think I'll be using Noel very often anyway. So for that reason, I think I'll be skipping him. It also doesn't help that the other banner mates here, which is Sid, Irvine, Kate, Sif, and Liz, are all severely outdated characters at this point of the game. So there really isn't any strong consolation price on these banners. And there really isn't a lot of incentive for me to pull. On the right hand side, you see the synergy characters for the event. So for the Chaos Challenge quest specifically, where you need to use synergy characters, for me I have Liz at 3-3, and since I have Eald'narche with his LD, I can just use Eald'narche, Liz, and maybe either Kate Sif or Noel at 0 out of 3 realization, even though Noel doesn't have his LD in my roster. Alright, so coming to the next event after that, we have Struggles Lost Chapters, featuring the return of Struggles EX and LD. So his weapons are not new at this stage of the game, but Ashe actually has a newly released weapon, which is her LD. And initially I was planning to skip this banner as well, but after thinking about it some more, I changed my mind and will probably invest gems, primarily aiming for Ashe's LD. There are a few reasons why I want to do this. First of all, Ashe and Struggle are actually quite decent units, but beyond that, they also bring, for me at least, decent utility even as call units as well. So for example, Struggle as an LD call will provide you another option for instant break, and for Ashe, although she is not unique in call role as an enchanter and impaler, what I really like about her as a core unit is she provides a framed imperil debuff as well. And I'm personally a very big fan of enchant and imperil calls. I use them quite a lot. So, and I actually missed out on Ignis's LD. So I think for me, I really want to add Ashe's LD to my roster for that reason. The other reason is I actually skipped Struggle and Ashe in the past. So in this banner, I actually don't have both of their EX. I don't have both of their LDs. And of course I wouldn't have Eald'narche's burst weapon as well. So there's 5 weapons that I could potentially get once I start pulling using gems. The main prize though will be Ashe's LD, so once I get her LD I'll stop, regardless of whether or not I get any of the other 4 weapons. And lastly, the third reason is because this is a Lost Chapters event, both Struggle and Ashe and Eald'narche will return as synergy characters in the next event as well, which means that I'll be able to use them in 2 separate Chaos Challenge quests. So overall, it is quite a value banner for me. Lastly, we have Act 3 Chapter 3.2, and it may come as a surprise, but I actually plan to skip. This was a very difficult decision for me, but the main factor coming to this decision was that the month of June was a very heavy month for me. I had very bad RNG in my pools, and I spent somewhat estimate about 1,000 tickets in total, and I had to PT 3 banners, so it was a lot of heavy investment required. My ticket stash is I'm actually down to the last 100 tickets, which is why across all of these banners you don't see me planning to use tickets. I really just don't have any tickets to use. So difficult decision, but I think I plan to skip. Iroha is actually quite a good unit. She does have a very unique Brave discount mechanic where she provides you a 20% discount on HP dumps, which will allow you to retain 20% of your Brave after every HP attack. And she also has a very cool feature of being able to use her EX 2 times in a row before needing to recharge the EX meter. But overall, you know, if I pull on Ashe and Struggle's banner before, I probably would have enough synergy characters for the Chaos Challenge quest, and I wouldn't be too concerned for the Lufenia fight because I would have many other characters built up in my roster for the Lufenia fight. So I'm currently at a stage where I'm trying to recoup my resources, and I think ultimately this event and banner will give me another chance to try to save more gems and tickets. So it'll be a skip for me. For the Chaos Challenge quest, like I said, I have Ashe and Struggle hopefully at this point because I pulled on the previous banner. But even if I don't have them fully built up, I have Eald'narche and Sars fully at 3-3. So, you know, I have options for the Chaos Challenge quest at least. So, coming to the point on how I will actually rank these units, and really, I really need to give a disclaimer that this particular slide is heavily biased by my opinion and preferences. I really want to provide a disclaimer that you always need to factor in what roles you need more in your roster. But the reason why I put this slide together is particularly also for newer players. You know, if you are limited in your resources in gems and tickets, or you're limited in ingots or power stones and you can't fully invest in multiple characters and you can maybe only pick 1 or 2, this would be my recommendations, and I'll go through a little bit about the reasons why I rank the characters as such. So first and foremost, if you are fairly new to the game and you are wondering which banners to invest in, you should really go back and pull for Tifa. At this time of release of this video, Tifa's banner should still be live, and Tifa brings so much to the table that I think it makes a lot of sense to get her fully maxed out as a first character. Beyond that, I think Ashe is a good pickup, and she's a very decent support character. She can also enchant and imperil 2 elements, and she actually complements Tifa really well. And she also of course brings quite a lot of utility even just as a call character. So overall I really like Ashe and what she brings to the table. Iroha, I rank her 3rd, mainly because for me, I think Tifa will fulfill all my DPS requirements. Iroha, however, like I said, does have a unique Brave discount mechanic, and in actual fact, she really benefits characters with multiple HP dumps, and Tifa happens to be one of them. So if you really want to invest in more characters beyond Tifa and Ashe, I think Iroha is actually quite a decent pickup as well. After Iroha, I actually rank Struggle a bit lower than her. The only real reason for that is I feel comfortable with Tifa fulfilling my DPS needs. And I think if you have Tifa already as a DPS character and you are somewhat new, it would probably be better to try to max out characters that fulfills other roles such as support or tank or utility characters. That being said though, Struggle is very different from Tifa in the sense that Struggle excels in area of effect DPS, whereas Tifa excels more in single target DPS. Beyond that also, Struggle is a magic based DPS character, whereas Tifa is physical based. So if you are wanting to pull for DPS characters that provides different type of DPS than Tifa, then Struggle is actually quite a decent pickup. Lastly, I rank Null and Eald'narche last. Null mainly because I feel that if you really want a DPS character, you pull for Tifa, Iroha, or Struggle. And if you have all 3, I really don't see a need for Null pretty much. Eald'narche is kind of awkward. He can really shut down bosses with his terror mechanics, and you can do 0 boss actions run with Eald'narche. The main problem with Eald'narche though is that there are many other party comps currently at this stage of the game that will enable you to do 0 boss turn runs. And if you are a new player and you're wondering about Eald'narche, he is a very complicated character to learn and use. He's not really a character that you can just put in your team and spam his skills. You actually need to think carefully whether or not to use his skills, when to use his LD, when to use his EX, and even when to use his HP++ attack. And there's a lot of nuances and scenarios around that, which I feel is really not worth the time and investment to learn about his kit. And to make things even worse for him, I guess, is that at this stage of the game, there are multiple Lufenia fights that introduces debuff cleansing mechanics or debuff immunities. Or in some stages, the bosses are even outright immune to his terror debuff. So I really feel all of this doesn't bode well for Eald'narche, and overall it's probably just better to do without him. And if you want to cheese, just aim to cheese the stage another way other than Eald'narche. So for that reason, I actually rank him last. So that's it for this series of events. In summary, I guess I plan to skip most of these events, mainly because, like I said, June was a very heavy month for me, and I really need to start recouping my resources, and I plan to do it in these events before the next round of characters come in. So overall, I will skip Eald'narche, I will skip Null, I will use gems primarily for Ashe's LD, hoping that I can also get Struggle's gear along the way. And lastly, I plan to skip Iroha. That's it for this video. I hope it has been somewhat informative, and if you enjoy the content, of course do leave a like and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.